Fans no longer just consume music. They have become active participants in the business of music itself. And Jungkook's global reach has crystallized this trend in a way that alarms US industry executives. His fans do not wait for marketing campaigns orchestrated by labels. Instead, they create their own strategies. Mass streaming initiatives, fan-funded billboards, coordinated buying projects, and sophisticated use of data analytics to track trends. For example, whenever Jungkook releases a song or even appears in a brand campaign, fan collectives across continents instantly organize to amplify visibility. They treat the event not merely as entertainment, but as a campaign that needs strategic execution. This level of mobilization mirrors political activism more than traditional music fandom. American artists certainly have loyal fan bases, but the difference is scale and organization. Few US pop stars inspire this type of interconnected transnational fan labor. From an economic perspective, this is significant. It means that Jungkook is not dependent on the traditional bottlenecks of the US industry. His commercial performance doesn't need to pass through the same gates, radio programmers, late-night TV appearances, or major US award shows. Fans can engineer success globally, bypassing those filters. This is precisely why the American industry might feel uncomfortable. They are witnessing an artist whose power is decentralized yet unstoppable. Another factor in this fan economy is the weaponization of data. Jungkook's fans know how to use platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, TikTok, and YouTube with precision. They analyze algorithms, study playlisting trends, and understand how to push visibility on global charts. Instead of waiting for a label to secure playlist placement or negotiate marketing deals, fans become the marketing team. This is radically different from the way US pop stars usually function. An American artist might drop a single and rely on a label's marketing rollout, promotional interviews, official playlists, and partnerships with brands or TikTok influencers. Jungkook's fan ecosystem bypasses this, functioning almost like a crowdsourced multinational corporation, with no central leadership but remarkable efficiency. From the perspective of US industry executives, this presents a threat. If an artist can achieve global dominance without investing heavily in the conventional US machinery, then the industry loses its leverage. Jungkook essentially demonstrates that the traditional pathways are optional, and once that precedent is set, it opens the door for other international artists to replicate the model, further decentralizing the industry's control. Jungkook's fan-driven economy extends beyond music into merchandising and brand power. Collaborations with global fashion houses such as Calvin Klein demonstrate that his appeal is not bound by cultural or linguistic borders. American stars do collaborate with brands, but the sheer intensity of consumer response to Jungkook's partnerships is unique. When a campaign is launched, products sell out instantly across multiple countries. This creates another layer of anxiety for the US industry. American pop stars traditionally derive much of their economic dominance from brand deals and endorsements within the domestic market. Jungkook, by contrast, operates on a global scale of consumption. Fans in Southeast Asia, South America, the Middle East, and Europe participate in the same cycle of consumption simultaneously, creating a revenue stream that does not rely solely on the US market. The implication here is that Jungkook doesn't need to dominate the US alone to be a global superstar. His dominance comes from the interconnected participation of diverse markets, each contributing to a larger ecosystem. This global distribution of influence makes him less vulnerable to shifts in US industry politics and gives him resilience that few American artists can claim. Another reason the US industry might feel threatened lies in the redefinition of success metrics. Historically, the US market has set the terms of what counts as success in popular music, topping the Billboard Hot 100, dominating American radio, selling out stadium tours in major US cities. These markers were seen as proof of global cultural power. Jungkook's rise challenges that definition. His fans emphasize streaming numbers, YouTube views, global chart positions, and social media trends metrics that are not confined to US borders. As a result, even when US radio may be hesitant to give him heavy rotation, Jungkook can still generate undeniable global visibility. This shift destabilizes the US industry's long-held authority to dictate global musical hierarchies. If success can now be measured through global digital engagement rather than US chart dominance, then the centrality of the US music industry weakens. Jungkook, in this sense, embodies a post-American model of pop stardom, one that is defined by transnational participation rather than US gatekeeping. Another critical element is how Jungkook's fan economy defies the traditional barrier of language. Historically, American pop stars had the advantage of singing in English, the de facto global language of pop music. Non-English speaking artists struggled to break into the mainstream unless they adapted linguistically. Jungkook's trajectory, however, shows that this barrier is no longer decisive. Fans engage with him regardless of whether he sings in Korean or English. Because the ecosystem of fandom provides translation, context, and community engagement. Subtitling networks, fan translators, and real-time social media updates allow his content to cross borders instantly. This is another way fans function as infrastructure. They eliminate the obstacles that used to prevent non-Western artists from scaling globally. From the perspective of US executives, this means their advantage of linguistic dominance is fading. If fans can collectively erase the barrier of language, then the monopoly of English-speaking artists on the global stage is no longer guaranteed. Put all of this together, and it becomes clear why the US music industry might feel unsettled. Jungkook represents a model where fans replace labels as the engine of marketing. Global engagement replaces US metrics as the standard of success. Language barriers are rendered irrelevant by digital collaboration. Cross-industry power, fashion, merchandising, branding, is amplified by global consumption. This is not merely about one artist outperforming another, it's about a systemic shift in how pop stardom operates. Jungkook embodies the possibility that the most powerful star in the world does not need the US industry's approval, its infrastructure, or its definitions of success. For an industry that has long defined itself as the global center of music, this is a deeply unsettling prospect. The US market is watching as one artist demonstrates that the old rules can be broken and that millions of fans, connected across continents, can create a new center of gravity. Jungkook versus America's biggest pop star is not just a competition of talent or popularity, it is a battle of models, of old industry control versus decentralized fan-driven power. That is why the fear exists, and why it is unlikely to go away anytime soon. If the first reason the US industry feels uneasy about Jungkook lies in the fan-driven economic structure surrounding him, the second reason goes straight to the core of artistry itself: performance. Live performance, stage presence, and artistic versatility have long been the benchmarks by which American pop stars have distinguished themselves. The industry prides itself on producing artists who can not only record hit songs, but also deliver captivating live shows that sustain careers across decades. Yet in Jungkook, the US finds an artist whose mastery of performance standards pushes beyond those of many American superstars, and that causes discomfort. The concern here is not about whether Jungkook is better in some absolute sense, but about how he embodies a holistic skill set that reshapes expectations for what a global pop star should be capable of. This directly threatens the US industry's dominance, because it raises the bar in ways that many American artists trained in narrower systems may not be fully equipped to meet. One of the most striking contrasts is the way Jungkook's career emerged from the South Korean trainee system, which emphasizes years of intensive training before public debut. For almost a decade, the US music industry has promoted a narrative of authenticity. Stars are often marketed as raw talents who broke through with minimal training, relying on charisma, vocal ability, or viral momentum. While this narrative appeals to audiences who admire the idea of self-made artistry, it also produces stars whose technical foundations may be uneven. Jungkook, by contrast, represents the culmination of a structured developmental pipeline. Before debuting with BTS in 2013, he underwent years of disciplined vocal, dance, and performance training. Over time, this foundation allowed him to refine his abilities to a degree that makes his live performances appear effortless. When he takes the stage, he does not rely on one strength. He integrates singing, dancing, physical conditioning, and audience engagement simultaneously. The result is an artist who looks not only polished, but also technically formidable. In a competitive landscape where American pop stars are sometimes criticized for lip-syncing or lacking choreography skills, Jungkook's consistency creates a sharp contrast to US industry leaders. This means the expectations of what a global superstar can and should do on stage are being recalibrated in real time. One reason Jungkook stands out is his live vocal ability. Even in heavily choreographed performances, he maintains vocal stability that rivals or exceeds many American pop stars who either simplify choreography or rely on pre-recorded backing. This dual mastery, high-level singing while executing physically demanding choreography is rare in any market, but especially noticeable in the US, where many stars specialize in one domain. Consider the typical American pop concert. The focus may lean toward vocal purity, as in the case of ballad-driven singers, or towards spectacle-heavy staging with simplified vocals, as in some dance pop acts. Jungkook disrupts this binary by doing both. His performances combine the technical demand of Broadway with the global appeal of pop concerts, creating a hybrid standard that challenges the US industry's assumptions about what audiences expect. This matters economically as well. Concerts are a major revenue stream in the US industry, often more lucrative than music sales themselves. If audiences increasingly demand Jungkook-level performance standards, American stars may need to adjust quickly, investing more heavily in physical training, vocal durability, and choreography integration. This raises costs, extends preparation times, and disrupts established touring models. In short, Jungkook's live standards are not just an artistic challenge, they pose a financial disruption. Choreography plays another central role in why Jungkook's performance mastery unsettles the US industry. While American artists have historically leaned on choreography to elevate their shows, Michael Jackson, Britney Spears, Beyoncé, and Usher all shaped eras with signature moves, the tradition has become inconsistent in recent years. Many current US Pop stars focus more on vocal-driven performances or visual spectacle pyrotechnics, staging, than on physically demanding choreography. Jungkook, however, represents a return to choreography as a central pillar of pop stardom, but updated for the digital age. His performances are designed not just for live audiences, but also for virality on short-form platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels. Each movement is crisp, intentional, and shareable, making choreography itself part of the marketing engine. The implication here is significant. US artists who neglect choreography may appear less dynamic in a global comparison. This creates pressure on American labels to reconsider training models and performance investments, again revealing why Jungkook's influence is disruptive. Another overlooked aspect of Jungkook's performance mastery is his athletic conditioning. Maintaining vocal control while dancing at high intensity requires stamina usually seen in athletes rather than entertainers. Jungkook's ability to maintain performance quality across long tours, multi-hour concerts, and back-to-back schedules reflects a level of physical preparation uncommon in many US stars. This matters because live touring has become increasingly grueling in the streaming era. Since recorded music revenues are less reliable, artists depend heavily on tours for financial stability. Yet tours are also physically taxing, leading to cancellations, shortened sets, or inconsistent vocal performances. Jungkook's conditioning allows him to meet these demands consistently, reinforcing his reputation as a dependable performer. For US industry players, this raises an uncomfortable question. Can their biggest stars meet the same level of physical and artistic reliability, or will they begin to look limited by comparison? Beyond technical skills, stage presence, the intangible aura that makes an audience unable to look away, is another area where Jungkook excels. His ability to balance intensity and relatability creates a psychological impact that deepens audience connection. American pop stars often cultivate distinct personas: charismatic, rebellious, glamorous, but Jungkook's stage presence blends multiple archetypes seamlessly. This versatility means he can shift from powerful choreography to intimate acoustic sets without losing momentum. Audiences perceive him as equally convincing in both modes, which is not always the case with American pop stars who may specialize in one persona but struggle outside it. This adaptability challenges the US industry's reliance on tightly constructed branding models, which can feel limiting in comparison to Jungkook's fluid stage identity. Another dimension of Jungkook's performance mastery is his integration of technology. From large-scale LED visuals to interactive fan experiences, his shows demonstrate how performance can merge with immersive digital design. The US industry has, of course, invested heavily in stage technology. Las Vegas residencies and Super Bowl halftime shows are proof. But the difference is in how seamlessly Jungkook incorporates technology into a performance-first model rather than a spectacle-first approach.